Hi, second grade. Happy Tuesday and welcome to math class. Today we are doing the last lesson of chapter 1. We are on lesson 1.9. Today we will continue skip counting. We'll count by ones, fives, tens, and now all the way, we're skip counting by hundreds all the way to 1,000. You will need both math books today. I noticed that some of us are still getting a little confused with your books. So I just wanted to clarify so we know. The math book that has the colored pages is what you work on while I work on it during my videos. The other workbook, it's a little bit thinner and it's called the practice workbook. And it has pages that are labeled with a P for practice. That is what you work on after the video to turn in. So after this video, you'll have to do some pages in that workbook. It's black and white, it doesn't have color in it. So please pay attention to what book you're using. Go ahead and open to page 45. You'll see at the top, it says lesson 1.9. And the subject is counting patterns within 1,000. So how do you count by ones, fives, tens, and hundreds with numbers less than 1,000? That's what we will be practicing. So yesterday we filled in a hundreds chart, but it started at 1. Today's hundreds chart starts at 401. So this is very similar, just instead of starting with the number 1, we're starting with 401. So remember all the different ways that you can fill in the blanks. You can count by ones. You can think 401, 402, 403, 404, 405. And you can count that way if that makes the most sense to you. You could also go down vertically and you can think about how you add 10 every time. So 401, 411, 421, 431, 441, and you keep going. Whatever way makes the most sense to you, pause this video and try your best to fill in these blanks with the missing numbers. Okay, hopefully you paused and filled out your own hundreds chart. You can now look at this to correct yours, see did you mix any numbers up or did you write it correctly. You can pause this video to look at this hundreds chart. Looking at the top of page 46, we're going to look at this model and draw section. Counting can be done in different ways. Use patterns to count on. So counting on is continuing to count from one number to the next. And we can do this by counting by ones, fives, tens, and now hundreds. So the first example says count by fives. Remember that when we count by fives, our ones place will always end in a 5 or a 0. So we have 95, 100, 105, 110, 115. What comes next? Add 5. And you can even do this if you want. You can put plus 5. 120. 125. Next one. 140. 145. 150. 155. Add 5. 160, add 5, 165, add 5, 170. We can also count by tens. Let's look at the first one. 300, 310, 320. What pattern do you notice with the ones place? It's always ending in a 0. What about the tens place? What pattern do you notice? We're adding a 1 every time to the tens place. In our hundreds place, stays the same. Let's keep going. 330. Notice we added 1 to our tens place. 340. Add another to the tens place. 350. 360. Add a 10 to the ones place. Now this next one is a little bit trickier. Let's look specifically at our tens place. We have 470, 480, 490. If we were to add 10 more to 490, what would we get? Take a moment, you can pause the video. When we add 490 plus 10, we get 500. So now our hundreds place changed from 4 to 5. And now we keep going. We add 10 more. Oops. So 510. Add 10. 520. 530. Let's look at the bottom of page 46, numbers 4 and 5. The directions for these say to count by hundreds. So that means our ones and tens place will stay as 0. We'll have no ones and no tens. Our hundreds place is the number that will be changing. We'll be adding 1 every time. So 100, 200, 300. And remember, you can draw the little plus 100 if that helps. 400, 500, 600, 700. So the ones and tens place stayed the same, and you add 1 to the hundreds place. So that means you're adding 100. It's like if we had a hundreds block, we're just adding another hundreds block. Flip ahead to page 48. We're going to look at the problem solving questions at the top of this page. Number 14 says, Lisa counts by 5s. Go ahead and underline that. She starts at 120 and stops at 175. Which of these numbers will she say? Circle them. So she starts at 120, stops at 175. One way you can do this is you can just count and write down all the numbers that she could possibly say from 120 to 175. Take a moment to keep going to check, and then we'll go over it. So if Lisa counts by 5s, you would circle 170, 135, and 155. She wouldn't say 151 because that's not skip counting by 5s. She wouldn't say 200 because She didn't count that high up. And she also did not count to 180. We're going to stop right there together, but feel free to work on any of the problems that we did not solve together. So any of our past lessons, if we did not complete them in a video together, you can go back and work on that for extra practice or come to my office hours to ask questions about them. So if you have any questions about math or anything else today, or want to stop in and say hi, come to my office hours today at 11:45 a.m. Thank you, second grade.